Watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates. You're listening to Absolute Empowerment with Coach Jeff Connors on The Sports Objective. Join Coach C, a USA Strength and Conditioning Hall of Famer, every Monday night as he and a variety of guests, including former players, former and current coaches, pastors, and others will discuss relevant issues in coaching today's athlete, with the goal of equipping the athlete and those coaching them with the physical, mental, and spiritual armor necessary to live their best life. Here's Coach Connors.
Welcome to Absolute Empowerment. Our guest today is Garrett Reynolds. Garrett played offensive line for UNC. I had the privilege and honor to coach him through his career there. And then he went on to a very impressive NFL career for 8 years with 3 different teams. Garrett, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Coach. Thanks for having me.
So very excited to have you on. I love to have the guys on that it was such a pleasure for me to coach because you worked so hard and worked your way into the NFL through your career at UNC. And your playing height and weight was 6'7", 305. And so I think when you stepped on campus, you were about, maybe 270?
Yeah, like 260 right when I got there.
Okay.
Put me on that hard gainers group there.
But I'm just so proud of the way that you worked through the whole time that you were there. And you definitely deserve the career that you've had in the league. So, Garrett, in this podcast, we talk about a lot of different things, but the main thing we want to talk about is your story. And we also talk about some of our own pitfalls to maybe help some young folks out there. So we'll get into that a little bit with a little bit of advice. But the first thing that I want to talk about is going back to growing up. And of course, we're going to have to throw in the Hacksaw Reynolds story, but tell me a little bit about your influences as you grew up through grade school, junior high, high school. Who were the people who influenced you in athletics?
Yeah, I guess starting off, I'm from Strawberry Plains, Tennessee, about 20 minutes outside from east of Knoxville. Grew up in a pretty small community. And my parents put me in everything growing up except for football. I didn't start playing football until I was in 8th grade. So I did gymnastics, believe it or not, swimming. We did horseback riding, soccer, basketball, baseball, tennis. You name it, we did it. They didn't really want me in like contact stuff until just got a little bit older because my dad had seen a lot of his buddies' kids get burnt out by the time they got like even to high school from the area we were in at least. And so I always looked up to my dad. He played at University of Tennessee, played linebacker there in the early 70s. And, started playing football in 8th grade. And I had my middle school coach, kind of told me, and he ended up being my freshman coach as well. Had told me he thought I had a shot, just kind of, I was pretty shy. I didn't really talk a lot, but told me I had a shot, to really improve and make a go, at least going to college. We didn't know what that was going to look like yet. And then, I had some great O-line coaches through high school. Rocky Riley, he played at University of Tennessee, and then ended up coaching there for a little while. And, him and my head high school football coach, Heath Woods, also had like a huge impact on me. There's hardworking guys. They'd always had I used to get down there real early to the field house, and they'd be down there. They'd get there extra early because I was going to be there so I could go get to work or whatever I had to go do during the summer. So, but really my dad really pushed me without pushing me. He didn't really put a lot of pressure on me, but he'd always ask, what I did extra, and just kind of kind of poke at me. But really just by watching him and how he worked my whole life, I knew what was expected. And, I always carried that with me.
How big were you, let's say, in ninth grade?
Ninth grade, I think I was like 6'6" or 6'7", maybe 6'5". I can't remember. And I was like 205, and you could, somebody could, a stiff breeze would literally knock me off balance. You know how uncoordinated I was, even when I got to college sometimes. So, I was real gangly and very unathletic, to say the least. So,
did you play other sports?
Yeah. So, growing up, I played everything until I got to about 8th grade. Then I started playing football. I still played soccer. I still swam competitively. And then played soccer my freshman year, and I played football freshman year. And then sophomore year through senior year, I played football, and then I played rugby in the spring. And I liked it. Our high school football coach didn't care for it much, but I never missed a workout. I always made all my workouts, made all my stuff, and and all the guys that played football that went and played rugby ended up being a lot better tacklers. And I would highly recommend any high school kids wanting to get an edge not only on their fitness, but I think rugby is a great sport to be playing.
Yeah.
And it teaches you really how to tackle correctly, and when to give a little extra effort and when to maybe save your body a little bit, and really protecting your head. Which we're seeing issues with, of course.
So that's what I wanted to ask you about. Is do you think there's less injuries in rugby because you don't have a helmet?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely think differently when it comes to making contact. And I'm not saying there's still really hard hits in rugby as well. It's a very physical game, but you just use your technique. And I think rugby is a really great game, and I'm glad to see it's picking up steam here in the United States. We had some ragtag teams when I was in high school. It wasn't anything. Usually we paid like 12 on 15 because we didn't have enough guys, and we'd still go out there and we had a bunch of pretty good athletes, and we'd smoke some other schools. And we had a lot of fun, and it made our football team better, which we needed desperately. So we were very good. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So senior year in high school.
Yeah.
How did you end up at UNC? Who was recruiting you?
My final three were Nebraska, Virginia Tech, and UNC. And I went when I came to UNC. Old Kyle Ralph hosted me.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And he's just he's an awesome dude. And he gave me some really good advice that I took with me. And by the end of the weekend, I had my answer. He told me, he said, if you blew out your knee tomorrow, and he wasn't trying to pitch me or anything. He was just being honest with me, which I really respected. He was like, if you blew your knee out tomorrow, where would you see yourself being? And you couldn't play football anymore. Where would you see yourself being happy as a student and somewhere where you would want to continue to be a part of the program, just as maybe a assistant coach or even just as a student if football was over one day. And, that really helped me narrow it down, because I just felt at home at UNC, really clicked with the guys there. And, just it was the right decision. It was a gut decision. It was the right one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you were growing up in those younger years before you came to UNC, did you go to a lot of your uncle's games?
No. So his last year was in '85. So
okay.
'87. So
okay.
Watch him play. I saw some of his game tapes growing up. He came and watched me in high school a few times, and I think once or twice at Carolina. But I think he after he got done with football, I think he was pretty much tired. He was just kind of done with people, maybe in a way. I don't want to speak for him. I really don't know him too well, but he just him and his wife moved down to the Bahamas and kind of just he just was kind of done with a lot of things. And
Right.
so yeah, so I'll be honest with you, Coach. I didn't really know him very well.
Okay.
Still really close to my dad, but he's only been around here and there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you certainly, when I look at the pictures, I can see you. When I look at Hacksaw Reynolds' pictures. But let's talk a little bit about him. I guess he grew up in Tennessee as well.
No, so him and my dad went to Western Hills High School in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah, and they my uncle got a scholarship to the University of Tennessee, and of course took it, and had a hell of a career there. He's in the Hall of Fame there. And then
Yep.
I like telling my dad's side of it more, though, was my dad wanted to follow his brother down there, and my dad was exactly 4 years. So my dad would have been a freshman the year after Jack graduated. So
Okay.
their time in there. And my dad told his high school football coach, well, I'm going to walk on at Tennessee and go play at Tennessee. And his high school football coach laughed in his face and told him he would never make it. And, I'm real proud of my dad. And he went down there, made the team, and he ended up being a 2-year captain. So,
Wow.
Scholarship. So he's a hard man, and got a lot of respect for that guy. So
I never knew that.
yeah.
But, that's awesome, man. But I did read a couple stories that that were kind of interesting about your uncle.
Yeah.
I guess it was
I've heard him.
11 years with the Rams, all pro. I guess he was a Pro Bowler a couple of years. He played in 3 Super Bowls, and they won two of them.
That's right.
And he got the name because he was frustrated about the loss of a game and went out and sawed his car in half. Is that true?
That's from everything I've heard that is correct. Is they were going down to play Ole Miss in a bowl game, and I like to think it was in Memphis, but I could it's been a while since we've talked about it. But hit one of the other linebackers on his defensive core there. Said Archie who about Archie Manning, and they went down there and got smoked pretty good, I think. And he came and he got 10. The story is he got 10 hacksaw blades and went to a junkyard. And Jack, he's a nice dude and all, but he's one of those guys. He's got that same look in his eye that old John Bunning had a little bit, where you like him and you love the guy and everything, but you're like, that guy's a little crazy.
Yeah, that's that linebacker look.
Yeah, exactly. So and he had that same look. It was one of the reasons I love John Bunning so much. Is just it reminded me of they had that same twitch to them. And but yeah, so it took him apparently 3 days or 2.5 days to saw that car and a half. And he's just a crazy man. He's wild. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a story about he was very serious about meetings and very serious about studying the game.
Yep.
And I guess when he went to the 49ers, Ronnie Lott came in a meeting and your uncle had like 100 pencils, like sharpened. And Ronnie asked him for one, and he wouldn't give him one. He said, when you come to a meeting, you come prepared. That's the kind of people I like to play with. So,
I don't know if I've heard that one, Coach, but that sounds right.
I like him.
He definitely was a student of the game. And he was very serious. And, because he had some coaching offers at one point. My dad was telling me, this is, back in like the 80s or something. And my uncle would never do it because he goes, well, I'll just kick everybody off the team because nobody's going to work as hard as I worked. And, he was like, I'm not accepting that. And that's why he never got into coaching. He just didn't think anybody could do anything as good as he did it. And, and there's two sides of that coin, of course, but, you kind of got to respect that mentality in a little bit of a way. So
I read where Bill Walsh tried to get him into coaching and it just didn't work out, just like you said.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was very interesting is a story about when he would show up for pregame meals, fully dressed, eye black, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, he when he left the hotel, he was who was fully dressed in all his gear, and he rode over on the team bus and everything, fully kitted out. So
Yeah.
helmet on and everything too. I mean, he's crazy, man, and he's got some good. My dad's got some good stories as well. So
Yeah.
you need to talk to Art about it sometime.
Well, I know you're proud of your dad, and I'm sure he's very proud of you and what you've accomplished as well. And I know I am, and I know your buddy Chase Rice is too. I had a podcast with him, and he likes to tell stories about Garrett Reynolds. So
We had some good times over there.
I get into that a little bit here in a couple minutes.
Yes, sir.
Well, I went and visited the Falcons, and you were with the Falcons. What was it? 5 years?
Yeah, 2009 to 2013 season, and then after that, 2014, I got cut in that January or February, I can't remember, and I kind of was a little frustrated with football at that point, and so I dropped down to like 270. Coach, I was playing rugby with an Atlanta men's club.
Okay.
And, running like crazy. I got into doing a ton of yoga, and I was still lifting a lot. I got down to about 275, 280, and then the Lions called me about a week before camp, and I was like, "Oh shoot, what am I going to do?" And so I had to gain about 20 pounds in I think like a week.
Yeah.
So I was just crushing food, which was pretty good time, I guess. And
Yeah.
But it was great though, because I got up there, and I'll tell you what, I was fit. I was more fit than I'd ever been in my life, and I could, going into training camp like that, actually wasn't too bad of a way to do it, and so
of course, going back and looking at your strengths and weaknesses, we were always trying to get you to bend, because of your height. It's like low man wins. Sometimes, most of the time, low man wins, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
I always struggled with that one.
Yeah, I think that yoga probably helped you quite a bit.
It did, and honestly, losing some weight, because when I was in Atlanta, I was playing in guard at like 320 a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I was playing guard. I played some guard in Detroit, and played mostly tackle in Detroit. But even when I went to St. Louis, I was still, a little lighter. I was like 300 instead of 320, and I just felt a lot better. Was moving a lot better. And just, I'd been doing a lot more flexibility training, which I thought was really important for me. So,
yeah. Well, I know we both experienced that little transition from bunting to butch, and that was kind of a tough deal, but I was just glad to still be there.
Yeah.
And happy to keep working with you, of course. And I mean, Butch got it turned around, but at the same time, I really think that Coach Bunting was bringing in some great recruits in the last couple years, and I think he could have got it done if we just had another year or two with him. But we all know how it goes out there.
Yeah, when at that age, I never looked at anything. I never knew who was coming in until they got there. I just kind of was, I just did my own workouts, and I never worried about who was coming or whatever. Just I'm gonna just do my stuff, and that's it. So I think the problem for a lot of kids nowadays, they're always watching who's coming to maybe compete with them for their spot, and it's like, quit worrying about that crap, and just go out there and get after it. And I don't know. That's my answer to everything. Like, people, have asked me over the years, like, hey, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And I'm just like, I'll be honest with you. I learned my playbook as best as I could. And I knew my other, O-line guys' jobs too, so I could help coach. Yeah. And then I tried to work as hard as I possibly could. I'm by no means was never the best football player at all, or the most explosive guy, or the most dominant specimen. But, I was always fit, and I went as hard as I went on the first snap as I went on the 70th. And that's something.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something I'll always take pride in, was I feel, being fit enough, and, somebody might whoop my butt a couple of times, but I'm going to come back. and you're gonna have to smack me in the face again. I'm gonna still show up. So it's even if I'm getting my butt whooped sometimes, which it definitely did in the NFL, it happened. But he's forget short memory and get back up there and keep going.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your out of football experience at ECU, or I'm sorry, at UNC.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I interviewed about a dozen ECU guys already, but talk about Chase Rice a little bit.
Oh, well, Chase was my first real roommate because I moved in second summer session. And we were at the Granville Towers right there on Franklin Street. I don't know if you remember those. They've torn in, but I came in there, and Chase, heck, he didn't even talk to me for about the first 2 weeks, and then and then we ended up kicking it off, and being, of course, still best buddies. He came through town, a couple weeks ago and hung out with Carson and I, and we just had a good time hanging out and catching up. So it's been good to see him, as he's going through, heading over to the beach or something like that. So,
yeah.
But, Chase and I have been, he's always been a outstanding friend to me. I mean, he's a brother to me. And the dude is always just, since I met him, after those 2 weeks, we've just been just great friends, and I love that man to death. He's a good man. He's a great friend, and I really do consider that man a brother. And I've got a handful of guys, Zach Penalto, Kyle Jolly, Lowell. There's a bunch of guys. Will Lawing is another guy, I've been good friends with for a long time, and they're just, if the high school kids are watching this, Coach, I would say, even if you're going D1, D2, D3, go and play college ball or go play your college sport if you can, and make those friendships that are the friendships that are going to be more like brothers than family. And I think that's the greatest thing that happened at the University of North Carolina. Is I've got a really great group of guys and people I cherish very much. I love them to death. So,
yeah, I always like that word brotherhood.
Yeah.
People like to use family, but sometimes families don't get along.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're different.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it's more like a brotherhood and all those commonalities. But Arthur is, I went down and to see Atlanta play the Steelers, which didn't have a good outcome.
Yeah.
But Arthur is a very intense coach. I stayed with Dwayne Ledford, who I coached at ECU, and he's an O-line coach. And then, of course, Yates is down there. I got to see Yates for a little bit. So that was a great trip for me.
Absolutely.
And what I wanted to ask you about, I guess, is, they had a driver pick me up, and then they had a driver take me back from the facility to the airport. And I was like, wow, man, everything is so far.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have to do a lot of driving when you were playing for Atlanta?
Yeah, so I lived in Buford, Georgia there. So I lived about 15 minutes from the practice facility. And then, on before a game, you drive down the city on Saturday, about 4 o'clock or, whatever time you had to be at the hotel. But, it was a haul, and caught in traffic at the wrong time. We had guys, sometimes being a little late, and a lot of times not their fault. So, Atlanta traffic is an animal in itself. So, you're leaving 2-3 hours before you actually need to be somewhere most of the time. But we used to stay at that Georgia Tech Hotel and Conference Center near so not too far from the stadium, and the new one I never played in, but they blew the old one up right next to where the old one was too. So,
well, the location of the stadium, you got to kind of keep your head on a swivel a little bit,
Yeah.
Same thing when you go play Georgia Tech and walk around there. I mean,
you better know.
It's kind of like, but I really enjoyed my visit. and I hope to do it again next year. And I know they've got some more. They got some more money available, I think, next year to go out and get some D linemen. So I think that's going to help them some.
I'm proud of Arthur. I'll tell you what, when he worked hard as a player and at UNC, and then when he was a GA, I've never seen a GA work harder. Watching Arthur, like that dude slept in the office. He had everything perfect, and he worked his dang butt off. And I'll tell you what, that man he's earned every step or everything he's gotten for sure. So he's went out there and created a name for himself.
Yeah.
I'm real proud of that guy. And I know he's got a couple kids now, and so he's got the whole deal going.
Well, Steve Watterson with the Titans, he's a buddy of mine. I'd go to the Titans and visit Steve, and I'd see Arthur walking around, and like Arthur would be like so cranked up about something. Well, I don't know what was on his mind. It'd be like he was looking through you. Like, are you all right, brother?
Yeah.
He's probably thinking about some offensive scheme.
Yeah.
But that's his demeanor.
How's Coach Ledford doing, man? I mean, I didn't even I knew when he was at UNC kind of helping out here and there because he's in and out of town. I guess I never really picked up on it, but he was still trying to get back in the league at that point, I think.
Yeah, we got him back. We got him back with the Browns.
Yeah.
And I think he played for one more team for 1 year. It might have been the Saints.
Okay.
But, I was training him while he was helping me.
Yeah, I remember that.
And, of course, Coach Simpson and we give him a hard time because we had him in charge of the bands when we traveled. Yeah. And he'd be calling us like, is it okay for me to come down for a pregame meal? I'm like, come on, man. And so, now, of course, he's big time. I'm down there and he's, I'm staying in his $2 million house. And I'm like, okay.
Heck yeah.
So, but he's
be happy he's doing good.
He's a great coach. He really is. He does a great job.
The O-line guys, I remember in college, enjoyed having him around because he would always help out a little bit too, even when we were stuff. And that stuff, us young guys don't forget that kind of stuff. So. Oh
yeah. Yeah, he did a great job for me. He does. He's just very diligent.
Yeah.
And very detailed.
Mm-hmm.
And he likes that stretch play, brother. He loves that outside zone and everything off of that, man. That's his deal.
Oh yeah. Hey, you get the zone going, it's gonna work. So,
no doubt.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you if you remember Dominique Davis. Was he on the team with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I coached him. I think it was my first year back at ECU. He was a quarterback.
Because he ended up transferring, right? Didn't he transfer? Yeah. That's right. It's been a long time ago since I've heard that name. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I got I got 2 Atlanta jerseys in my garage down there in my gym. You and Dominique Davis on the wall. So.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I wanted to ask you is, did you take – okay, so before you, who was number 75?
At Carolina?
No, for Atlanta. Do you remember?
Let's see.
Because I coached Rod Coleman through his career at ECU, and I think he was 75 before you got there.
Yeah, I don't think there was a 75 when I got there. And then I changed it later in my career because I went to another team.
Okay.
I think I was 75 the whole time in Atlanta, and then I was like 70 in Detroit and 71 in St. Louis. The older I got, the less I kind of just didn't care. I was just like, give me a jersey, I'll be all right. So.
Well, Rod was a really great player, and I think he was with the Raiders for quite a while before he came to the Falcons, and then maybe one other team after that. But I saw one of his pictures here recently, and it was number 75. And then I thought, well, wait a second. That's Garrett's number. But then he left, I think, the year that you came in, he was going out. Or maybe the year before.
Yeah, he wasn't there when I was there.
Yeah.
But he might have just left. When you first get there, there's so many guys coming and going. It's wild. And, you're trying to remember all the guys you played with. And you're like, maybe. It gets to be a lot. So especially if you're on one of those rosters that just is constantly pushing and pulling guys out off the
Sure.
roster there. So,
Well, tell me a little bit about Mike Smith. He seemed to have a pretty good record there overall. I think it was 66-46, and then 2010 was a really good year. You guys were what, 13-4?
shoot, Coach, if you got it in front of you, I can't remember any of this stuff. It's just all
and was that the year? Do you remember playing the Packers in the playoffs or?
That it's just all jumbled and fuzzy, Coach. So
well, I mean, I just kind of took a few notes here and there, but I think that's what it was. But that was
playoffs. I think times I went to the playoffs in Detroit, and then 3 or 4 times with the Falcons, and lost every time in the first round. Every time. And
I think one time you lost to Steelers, maybe.
Yeah, I think when James Harrison was there. Yeah, I believe so. That sounds right. And then maybe the Packers. It's been so long. People ask me questions about stuff. I just say, hey man, I've been hitting the head too many times. Remember all that stuff. So, if I'd have to watch the game film, be honest with you, to kind of to track it. But Coach Mike Smith, great coach.
Right.
Is very serious, which as you should be. It's a lot of pressure. But he's a good coach. We had a good locker room, just good group of guys, and him and Arthur Blank they just did a great job, I think, building a good organization. And I'll say this: Arthur Blank and Mike Smith really pushed guys being out in the community, and I always really liked that and appreciated that because I thought that was very important. And if you got kids that go to college here that listen to this, go out, once you get there, do all your football stuff first and your schoolwork. But if once you get comfortable, get out in the community, go to the hospital, go visit some kids. That makes a huge impact on these young kids and puts a smile on their face. So if you get a chance, to anybody watching this, like, go off and play somewhere, no matter what level, go out and be a part of the community. It's very important. And
no doubt.
Yeah. So.
Well, when you got to the NFL, what do you feel like you had to work on the most to stay in the league? What did you discover as you came in, and where did you think you had to kind of put your money, in order to stay in the league?
I really was learning how to play guard because I wasn't necessarily fast enough to play tackle. The older I got, I figured it out a little bit better. Where I could, if it was a power guy, I could handle him, or do okay, enough to get the ball off and everything. But I struggled with those speed guys off the edge. I really had a hard time with those guys, and guard. I ended up playing probably more guard, at least starts wise. I think by quite a bit. Let's see.
That first year, you were a tackle, and then
I didn't play.
Second year.
I barely played any my first year. Maybe a couple snaps, and then some special team stuff. In my second year, because we had some really great players. We had Sam Baker was a first round pick at left tackle. Justin Blaylock out of Texas, who was just a freaking machine, and you had Todd McClure at center, who was an absolute legend, and Harvey Dahl, who was just a madman, and he was, man. He was a great player, dude, physical, and then you had Tyson Claybo, who played at Wake Forest, and he's a Knoxville guy too. Him and my dad actually played together at Tennessee for a little. And but we had some absolute monsters up there, and it was pretty tough coming into a room like that of guys that all been together, and I was a drafted guy on offense that year, and so it was I didn't really do a lot of talking, I don't think, my rookie year, and but they were great guys to watch play. I learned a lot from them, and it was a good room to learn from for sure. So I think, to answer your question, though, Coach, I think was trying to just learn how to play another position that I never really played. There's a saying in the NFL, the more you can do, so
Yeah.
and I think that's on any team. Hey, can you be the backup for 3-4 spots? Can you, are you willing to, in practice, like step up and just go, hey, I'll be the special teams dummy running down cover guy running down the field, like give the guys that are, actually doing it in the game a break, and just go run. Like, are you willing to just fill in and do what you can, even if you're tired? And I think that's, like I said, I was never the best player by any means, not anywhere close to it. But I was always willing to step in and do whatever I needed to do to be there. And I think that really helped out a lot. So yeah, I mean, that'd be it. That was my adapt. I adapted by, I think, taking what I knew, learned from college was really just being in shape, be in better shape than the other guy, know your playbook and work hard and play hard. And then I just kind of took that same mentality. Some guys didn't like it because that's the only thing I knew, and I didn't want to change it because that's what got me there. But don't change in how you play and how you do things just because somebody else doesn't like it, even if they really don't like it. So just keep doing your thing. So
right.
Yeah. But
how about like blitz pickup? Did you have to put a lot of time into that?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I loved pass protection. So pass protection meetings, I thought that was beautiful. It's like playing chess. It's
right.
Really learning how to read a defense and not only that, but communicating with the guys next to you. That's what makes playing ball fun, is when you're all communicating and you're all firing on the same, cylinder there. And, but we put a lot of time into blitz pickup, and you better be able to adjust on the sideline because they're going to bring something that you didn't prepare for every week. But that's okay. You just remember to stay calm. Okay, what happened? Cool. Let's go. And
right.
I think no matter what happens in a game, you got to stay positive and you got to stay light. You start letting it bog you down, you're going to be in some trouble. So.
What do you think a collegiate offensive lineman needs to master, put their time into, to be able to have a chance to make it in the league?
I think being one of the most fit guys never is going to hurt, because some guy might be so much better than you physically, and that's okay. You don't let a guy wear you out for that. Like, he might be better than you. He might be on piece of paper. Coach's going to take that guy 99.9% of the time, right? That's okay. Just accept that, and then just be in better shape with him, and I think that, especially if you're in like a hurry up offense, like, you ought to be fit as hell, and just, if you keep a defensive end on the field for 12, 15 plays, you ought to be smashing that guy by the end of the, especially in college, I think that I wish I would have done a lot more stretching. I wish I would have gotten into yoga in college, honestly, Coach. Not only for the stretching, but the mental the mental prep. I think it does. It's a whole different game, and I think it's been very important to me, like, later in my life. So I think that would have been. I wish, if I could go back in time, add that, and then just knowing your playbook, and be the young guy in the room that don't be showing anybody up or anything, but like, if an older guy is even having a hard time like learning something or picking up something, be like, hey dude, like, you want to go watch some film, and just pull them and be like, let's go watch, and not embarrass the guy or anything like that in front of anybody, but like, hey man, like, you doing good with this blitz package? And if he's like, dude, I need some extra work, but you be like, hey, let's go watch. Like, even if you're not the starter, just be like, hey, I got this down pretty good. You want to go, let's go bounce ideas off each other and go through some blitz packages and pass protection. And it's not only going to make, the younger guy better or the older. Anytime you're teaching something, you're going to be getting better. Even if you're maybe mess it up, it's okay. Just be in there, talking and working and showing that you're there for your teammates, I think is
Yeah.
very helpful. So.
I've always thought that when you get in the league, if you can still stay in developmental mode as long as you can before you hit the maintenance mode type of, I guess, phase, I really think there's still a window of adaptation there where you can develop physically,
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I might be crazy, but like I finally bench pressed 400 pounds when I was like 38 years old. It like took me that long,
Yeah, of course,
and,
that's you though. So,
but yeah, but like, I just think that you're still developing, as a man for a while.
you're absolutely right about that. But hell, you saw me lift. I was never very strong anyway, so I could do my body weight pretty good. That was about it. So,
Well, you have a long way to push the bar, brother.
yeah, that's
So,
we'll say that. We'll say that's fault. So we'll call it that. But no, I think for young guys, always work on your flexibility, be in shape, and just know your job. And the more you know, the better, and you can communicate with your other offensive linemen and really show that you're standing up and you know what you're doing.
yeah.
So,
What do you think let's say your most memorable experience with your time with the Falcons?
shoot, Coach, I be honest.
Doesn't even have to be. Doesn't even.
I mean, it's a blur. I'd have to sit down and like look through old pictures and I will say I enjoyed watching the older guys when I was young, and watching how they worked and how they studied. I think that really helped me for when I finally did kind of grow up a little bit to carry that with me in my last few years of playing. And I think that made a big difference in my last 3 years. So,
Well, Steve Logan, Coach Matt Ryan at BC. Steve was the head coach, who I worked for many years. But
yeah.
So what would you say about Matt Ryan and his leadership abilities?
Oh, Matt was he was great to be around. We used to run protection meetings with him, and he'd be in there calling out things before we would be. So,
yeah.
But he was great. He knew he always got us to the right play. I haven't watched him the last few years. I think he's in Indy now. But I really liked Matt. He was a hard worker, and I think anybody that makes a huge contract like that, not once but twice, and still has that passion to go work. Like I got a lot of respect for that, because we've all seen it. Guys hit that big contract and they're just like, I'm kind of, they still go out and play hard and stuff, but they kind of mentally shut it down, I think. Which, hey, I mean, that's, you got $100 million guaranteed contract or something. I don't know what that's like. So there's no judgment on anybody, but that'd be tough mentally, and he always came in ready to work and demanded that everybody came in and locked into play and practice. So I enjoyed being around Matt. He's a great dude, and hopefully he gets to play a few more years. So,
what do you think are the biggest challenges or distractions for an NFL player? And of course, I ask everybody this question who's played in the league that I coached, and usually it's the same answers. But what's your opinion?
Biggest distraction, I always had not necessarily in season. I had some issues with drinking, I think, especially in off seasons. Just honestly, I think because you're so pent up and like stressed, and you're young, and maybe that's not no excuse, of course, but I definitely struggle with that, and just kind of overdoing it. Just I don't know if it was being pent up for 6-7 months, where you're kind of I never realized I was even stressed until I got done playing football, and I was like, "Holy crap, man! I was I was pretty stressed out, I guess." I
Hey,
never,
I'm with you. I'm right with you there, man. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
like
talking about,
like
just the coaching career. I
yeah,
mean, it's
you just get used to
yeah,
it. You don't really acknowledge it, and that's just how it was. So, you know,
right.
I didn't realize I was stressed. But you know, and then even later in my career, I had some issues with drinking, and I'm not against people drinking and stuff, of course, but I mean, you've seen me. We still get together every once in a while, but uh, like to have a good time. But sometimes I, definitely overdid it, and just that kind of stuff, and things with women and all that, and so it's it's just a different world. So
Yep, no doubt. Well,
yeah,
yeah, Chase opened up and told me, his story about dealing with alcohol, and
yep,
it's just a great story, and it's a great story because of how he's dealt with it and how he's faced, the issues that he's had, and
yeah.
how he's so much better, so much better for facing those issues. And we all got to do that, So
He's done a great job. I think he even like cut it off for a good while. I mean, I'd like to
yeah,
4 or 5 months where I think he was just just to make sure he could still just do it, and he did. And, um, I can't remember what it was. Maybe like he started with something 75. I think I can't remember, but it
yeah,
was like some kind of challenge. I don't know.
yeah,
He
exactly.
kept with it. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think that was something in the yeah, mentally just that struggled with that. Like for off the field kind of stuff. But I think that's pretty common, and I think it's
right.
more guys will talk about it, because like we at the time we just thought it was fun, and we're being young dumb guys, and
Yeah,
looking back on it, or you're just like, dang man, I was partying way too much, and
right.
yeah, so
So somebody signs a contract. Of course, you got an agent. What's your advice as far as, do you have any advice as far as how they manage their money? And, because you hear all these stories, of course, where guys make millions and millions of dollars and then they get out of the league and 3 or 4, 5 years later, they're broke,
yeah,
So,
yeah. Um, for young guys, I think right now, like you got YouTube. Just start studying. Just start once a week. Sit down and watch a financial course. Find somebody you like. All kinds of people are doing stuff on real estate, and just start educating yourself a little bit. Learn some terminology in the financial world because it's different. But and people try to use words that you don't understand just so that way you feel like you need them. It's like having a
yeah,
law. And so just I would say for you young guys, sit down once a week and start, looking up some videos and start to learn a little bit about finances, investment opportunities, the terminology, and don't give anybody power of attorney over your money, and
yeah, yeah,
save, dude. Nobody cares what kind of car you drive. You know,
yeah,
No, nobody does. But if and if cars are your thing though, and
yeah,
you've been working your butt off, and you want to go get you a nice car, go get you one. Just be smart about it.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not ever going to tell anybody what to do. It's just make your own decisions. Just realize what a car is and what kind of value that thing's going to hold. But
Good stuff.
I would just say that, Coach. Just
Hey,
educate yourself and just be smart and don't try to impress anybody. Just be
yeah,
proud of yourself. So
good stuff.
yeah,
Appreciate that.
yeah,
So I wanted to mention the dog park. My I got a couple dogs here. My wife is a big time animal lover,
yeah.
and so I know that you were in that business for a little while, and
Yeah,
I thought that was really a fun and interesting thing that you did.
yeah, it was. It ended up wearing me out pretty good there, but we started a dog park in Atlanta. That was a full barn coffee bar, and had TVs, surround sound, all turf, and it's still doing really well, Coach. And we've got several locations now. I'm still involved a little bit, but not much. Just
Right.
I'd kind of burnt myself out. I was there way too much, and I was like, I need to get away from this because I'm losing it. But it was a great idea. My business partner, it was his idea, and I came in and we went in on it together, and definitely got in over our heads. So I almost made a huge bonehead mistake, but we really just grinded through it and put in way more hours than I would have ever expected. And we got to the other side, thank God. But it was a grind, man. So.
Yeah, my wife's trying to get me to even get some goats someday.
Yeah, hey man, that's what I'm trying to get. So I'm trying to talk Carson into letting me get some goats right now. So I just want them eating the grass. So I don't have to do any mowing on the side. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, so tell me a little bit about you're not married yet, right?
No, I'm not married. I guess I won't be able to let her watch this for a while, but got should be here engaged here pretty shortly, and
Okay.
really looking forward to it, man. She's a wonderful woman, and can't believe I got this dang lucky. So I'll tell you that. Yeah, I'm sitting up. I live up about 20 minutes from Furman. Yeah, so and I'm up in the mountains and just kind of hanging out up here and looking into some more opportunities, and just been kind of taking a little bit of a breather here. After the last couple of years, and that's really about all I got going on. So I'm trying to get my butt back in 300s condition, so I can go run those. So, but life's good, Coach. I mean, I can't complain, and really, really happy with where life's at right now. So it's been great.
Great.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Chase is going to be playing in Wilmington in April.
Oh yeah, man. I might have to come out.
I texted him, and he said, "Yeah, Coach, come on down." And there should be 8,000 people there. I think that's what he said.
Oh man. Well, so, I might have to see if Carson and I can make that one. That'd be a good time.
Yeah, I'd love to see you there, man. I'll definitely go. You just let me know.
Okay. I'll you shoot me the dates, and
okay.
We'll get it on the calendar. We got a couple weddings this spring, but I'm not sure when those are yet. So she keeps the calendar in check, and I just show up. So
I think it's sometime in April, but I will definitely check it out. And of course, I know you talk to him frequently anyway.
So he stopped through a couple of weeks ago, and we had a great time reminiscing on Carson. That was the first time she really got to hang out with him for an extended period of time, and I was giving him a bunch of crap about him learning how to play the guitar and how garbage he was when he first started, and we had a good time. So it was a good time catching up with him.
Well, he sent me a left-handed guitar. I didn't think he would, but he did. I couldn't believe it.
Hey, of course he did.
He took care of me for sure.
Yeah, he's always been good about that. If you give him you talk trash to him about something, he'll end up sending it to you as a gift there. So
I'm going to the producer of the show. His name's Bubba Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
It's his mother's birthday tonight, Fonda Rosenbaum. So I want to say happy birthday to Fonda.
Happy birthday, Fonda.
And we're going to close here in a second, but I just want to tell you how much I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
how much I enjoyed talking to the guys that I had the privilege to coach, and just how proud I am of what you've accomplished and what a great example you are to pretty much any young football player out there. You got it done with hard work, man. And I saw it every day. I saw it in your character. I knew what you were about. So congratulations on all your success. And, I hope to see you soon. So I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out.
All right, Coach.
And I did text Cal Jolly. He wanted me to ask you about a candle maker or something like that. So
Hey, oh yeah, you want to hear about when I first moved up here? I didn't have a job, and it was last Christmas. I was buying some gifts for my sisters and my mom, and I was this small business. The wife was saying, "Yeah, we can't keep up with these orders." I just moved up here, and I was like, "Well," I was like, "You need somebody to work?" And I was like, "You serious?" I was like, "I'll come work for you guys." I worked as a candle maker for like 4 months back in this like little studio and just listened to podcasts. I'd be back there making candles, man, just chilling. And yeah, that was it. So it was a lot of fun actually. I enjoyed it. But
that's awesome, man.
So
you never know what kind of skills you might have,
Never know. And it was fun helping out some people that were really good people, and that made me happy. So that's all that matters. So, but well, Coach, hey, thank you so much for having me,
yes,
and
sir.
thank you so much for everything over the years, and of course for whooping my butt for all those years. So I appreciate it.
Well, hey, this is Jeff Connors for Absolute Empowerment signing off for this week. Thanks for tuning in, and God bless. Thanks a lot.
All right, Coach. See ya.
You've been listening to Absolute Empowerment with Coach Jeff Connors on The Sports Objective. Join us every Monday night for a new edition of the show. Listen to the show pretty much everywhere podcasts are found. Be sure to follow us on social media at The Sports OBJ on Twitter and TikTok, at The Sports Objective on Instagram. Like and follow our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate you listening to the show. And go Pirates!